Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how we can use the case type utility to create new cases. After the installation, this icon should appear on your desktop. Double click on this. From here we can open existing cases or create new cases. In this case we're going to create a brand new case. Now what we can do is specify the name of the case. In this scenario we're going to be using contract management. Okay, and then we're also going to specify the business object. Now we have the statuses. So these are like the stages of the main case lifecycle. We can add new stages, or we can add some default stages just to help make our lives a bit easier, a bit of a fast track. So we can initialize a case, open, maybe there's a review stage. In this case we may call this legal review. Okay. We may want to add, maybe there's a management review as well. Okay, we're just going to move that up. Fantastic. Okay, so we've specified now all the different stages within our case. Now we want to configure the actions. So actions could be just random tasks that you can do against your case, whether it be escalating the case or maybe creating a brand new task for someone to complete. Once again, we can add new tasks here, or we have some default actions out the box. So new task, we'll actually start a workflow and assign someone a task. We can add new documents to the case, change the priority, escalate, and also log conversations against our case. If we go back to the statuses, we can now see against each status the actions on the right hand side. So we can now specify what actions are available at each stage. In this case we want to select that escalate and maybe new task is available at the initialize stage, open, maybe add document. Okay, these guys are available, and so forth. So you can see this allows us to easily change the behavior of our case as it progresses through the different stages. We also have a property bag configuration. So this allows us to specify additional information about our case. What we have in front of us is a default start page. So when we've deployed or installed the case type configuration framework onto the K2 server, okay, we have actually deployed some smart forms out of the box. Okay, in this case we have a smart form that is a template for starting a case type. Okay, so we're just going to use this to start our case. We can also specify the actual case instance template as well. So for every single case instance that starts, okay, you can specify now the form, so we can change the look and feel of that case instance site. Okay, now what we want to do is we're happy with the configuration and we now want to generate the project. So quite simply click on that button there. You can see now the folder on the left hand side has been created. Okay, that is the location. If I open that folder, okay, we can see there's a project and also a KPRX, okay, which is currently blank. So what we want to do now is actually generate the lifecycle process of our case. I'm going to click on this link here. Okay, and this brings us to this screen. You can see by default we have the case management KPRX file loaded. Okay, we're now going to specify what happens when it's going to generate our process. Okay, so what smartphone page to use. You can see once again we have all these other smart forms out of the box deployed with the framework, as I mentioned before, and this is just to help you to speed up your case creation. Okay, in this case we do not want our smart objects being created. Okay, we're happy with those other defaults, and we're just going to click on Create Process. Now what we're going to see here down the bottom is that file contract management has now increased size, so this utility has actually created the process for us. Okay, and what it's going to do now is actually open up the start form for our case type. Okay, so it's very fast. It's already kind of really helped us speed up the development of this case type already. So to open up the case type for contract management, it allows us to actually start the form from here. However, we still need to deploy the process. I'm going to open up K2 Studio. Okay, and then actually open up the process that we've just generated. Open contract management. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so here is the process that's been created. Okay, so we have the initial part of the case, and the case, registering the process, updating the business audit. Okay, creating the different stages of our case. Okay, and then we have the actual activities of our case as well. Okay, so we're happy with that, and we're just going to deploy that. Okay, fantastic. That should deploy very shortly. And what we want to do now is go on back to our page. Okay, in this case we're going to have a new partnership agreement. And what's actually happened behind the scenes is we've used this page. You can see we've actually taken the template form for starting your case. We've renamed it. We've added in our type of case type. Okay, so we've started our case, and now we've been actually forwarded to our dashboard about this case. So here we have the contract management dashboard. We can see there's one that's currently being used. 0 out of KPIs, 0 that are urgent. Okay, we have our work list. So we have our new contract process running. Okay, we can see it's at the initialized case stage. And below we can then see a list of cases as well. So we can see a list of cases by open and complete. Okay, for this particular case. Okay, if I want at any stage, I can actually come back to the start new case. Okay, and just create another one. Okay. Okay, so you can see these are the real-time stats showing information about our case. So what I want to do now is actually log into or view one of the actual case sites. So if I click on this, okay, we can now see information about our case. So this is using one of the templates. Okay, and all we're doing is actually passing our case ID within the query string, okay, to this template, and it then loads up the information about our case. Okay, in this case we can see it's contract management. We can see some other information about this, priority, okay, maybe a link to the view flow. Okay, and here you can actually see the view flow is the process that we automatically generated as part of the utility. Okay, and it's now gone down and it's at the initialized case stage. We have this area here, so this is where you can actually replace this section with your actual business data to make a bit more sense to the users so they know what's going on. Okay, we have a whole lot of other views as well that we allow the users to actually drop and drag these into your case type templates. Okay, so you can change the look and feel. So if you look at what we have here, we have co-priority, priority, we have actions on the right hand side, progression. Okay, I can change these around, and you can see I'm just changing the URL. Okay, so it's just changing the form name, and we're now changing the look and feel of the form. Okay, so you can change look and feel as much as you want, create your own templates, or reuse them. So within this we have, as I mentioned, in progression we can see what stage we're at, how far through it is. Okay, and further below we have a list of other related information. So we have comments, so at any stage we can add a comment. Okay, we have, of course, the progression. We have a business audit as well, so we can see what's happening throughout our case. Okay, we also have related processes. So throughout our case lifecycle, okay, we may have multiple processes related to the one case. So here we can actually view all those processes together. Okay, from here what we want to do is we are going to look at some of these case actions. So we have, these are my ad hoc actions, what I specified and configured within my case type utility. Okay, and then I have my actual K2 task as well. So with these actions, these are the guys that I can actually turn on and off using the case type utility configuration. Okay, I can just double click on these guys. I may change this to say hi. Okay, quick refresh. Okay, you can now see we've changed the KPI to high. Okay, in doing so, we've also added a comment as part of that, so we're logging everything that occurs. Okay. We also have, of course, the actual K2 task as well. So if I open this up, this is my actual K2 task. In this case, I'm just going to complete the task. Okay, I'm going to refresh this page, and it will then move us to the next stage of our process. So we can actually now see that we've moved from initialize to open. You can also see on the right hand side, we now have a lot more actions that we can do. Now we've actually progressed the case to the next stage. Okay. So we can also create new tasks as well. So we may say throughout this process where we're happy with everything that's going on, however we do need maybe some other checks to occur. Okay, so within this we have some default actions, as I mentioned, such as escalate, new task. In this case we may specify a brand new task called okay, check references. Okay, assign a due date. We'll assign the say to Bob and submit. And we'll give it a description as well. For customer. Okay, fantastic. So that's now actually created a brand new workflow, assign a task to the Bob. Okay, if I look at my related processes, I can now actually see that I have a related task or process to this case. Okay, if I now open up Internet Explorer as Bob, okay, I'm actually now going to view his task and actually complete the task. So the page I've actually opened up to here is an example of one of the portals that we have, a homepage with a dashboard. So we can have within the dashboard like your total number of tasks, tasks by priority, okay, and also by due date as well. Okay, in this case we have also my work list, so the tasks that I have to complete. Okay, and also a list of other cases, so we can actually go and search other cases, okay, that may be currently active. Okay, so what we want to do now is just open up that form of the task that we just created. Okay, and you can see we actually get quite a lot of information with this. Okay, we have an overview of the case. Okay, we can link back to the actual details site. We have the task details. We can add additional comments. Okay, and here we're just going to complete the task. Okay, and that's now done. Coming back to my main form, okay, we can now see that workflow is now complete. So that's all very well and good for very basic tasks that need to maybe go to, say maybe one user or something like that. But what if we need something a bit more complex? So what we can also do is, if we come back to the case type utility, okay, we want to specify a brand new action, okay, and we'll just call this, we'll actually call this check references. Okay, we're going to go to status. We want to say that this is available at the open stage. Okay, so we're happy with that. What I want to do now is to click on processes. I'm going to author an actual process, a custom process for that action. Okay, so here I can actually specify which actions I want to customize a workflow for. So check references. Okay, and we're happy with these configurations. Once again, we have a whole lot of other configurations out the box that we can use. Okay, so we're just going through. Check references is now complete. Okay, fantastic. So what I want to do now is actually go back to K2 Studio. I'm going to reopen this project. Okay, and we can now see a brand new process under case actions. So this is a very quick process that is created for us. Okay, you can see what it's going to do is, when we select check references, it's going to remove that case action. It's going to insert a progression item. Okay, update the business to ordered. It's going to register this process. Okay, then update. Then at the very end, it's then going to update the progression item to say it's complete, update the business ordered, and then reinsert that case action. So we're happy with that. As you can see, we can easily change what occurs within this process, but it's just a very quick process that can be used for this action. Okay, I'm going to click on refresh. Okay, fantastic. So here I have my new action. I want to double click on that. Okay, so this is a custom action. We're going to be using a very basic start form, and of course allow you to change this as you want. So once again, we may say check references. Okay, if I refresh progression, we can now see there's a new item that's been inserted. Okay, under the current active stage. If I refresh my actions, okay, the check references task or ad hoc task is gone, but we now have a K2 task relating to that process. Okay, and if I scroll down, click on related processes, okay, we can once again see we have another task or another process related to this case. Okay. If I open up the browser as myself again, in this case, this process, as I mentioned before, is very, very basic. Okay, it just goes to the originator, just to make it easier to help get you going. And all we're going to do here is just complete that item. Okay, and now we can see that the subtask or sub-process that we started is now complete. So now this K2 task should be removed, and the check references ad hoc action is now added back into our case. Once again, if we refresh the related processes, these are also now complete. So that's an overview of the case type utility, how to generate the process for your life cycle and also for ad hoc actions. Okay, if we look at what's available within the K2 Designer in terms of the case, okay, we have a lot of different artifacts that we can use. So starting from the top, we have a number of different objects. So we have the main case action new task form. Okay, every time we create a new task, we can see this is the actual data source for storing the task information. Okay, we have a whole lot of different views. Okay, we have your workflow behind your new task action. We have different forms, so we have all the templates that we could have selected from. Okay, you can always, as I mentioned before, we can modify these quite easily. Okay, we have some case management forms, which we'll look at very soon. Okay, all the smart objects. We have a whole lot of reports that we can use as well. We also have some views. So these views are obviously, it's like, once again, like Lego blocks that you can just add into your templates, your case instance templates, whenever you want, just to extend the behavior of your case type instance. So in this case, we have template 1. Okay, this is how it looks. What we may want to do here is maybe drop in the ability to add documents. Okay, so we're just going to come to my view. I'm going to drag this guy on. Okay, very simple. I've dragged it on. Everything's already been pre-configured so that as soon as you drag it onto your form, then it will then take the case ID and then populate with that data. So we're happy with that. What we're going to do now is go back to one of the forms. Okay, so this is the case management, one of the management forms where we can actually see what's happening within our process. We can see the number of cases that are running, high, medium, low. Okay, what we're going to do now is actually go to our case management or contract management portal, and I can actually see a bit more information about that. We can see we have two active, one out of KPI, and if I click on one of these guys here, you can now see I've actually modified the template that we're using. So we can now add documents directly to our case. So if I add a document here, okay, that should now be displayed purely for the case. Okay. We also have a number of different management forms. Okay, so we have this management form here, which I just showed you. Okay, it's got some nice kind of charts, all active completed items. Okay, we can also display a list of case types down the bottom. Okay, and at any stage you can just click on these links, which will then take you to the case site. Okay, we have some other supervisor forms, caseworker forms. So once we actually click on one of these items here, as you may have seen before, it actually takes us to another form, and it passes in the case type ID, in this case contract management, okay, which allows us to view all the cases, okay, and see some other reporting statistics against this case. Okay, so what I recommend doing is, after installing the case management framework, okay, creating a brand new case, come into your folder, okay, and just explore the different components that we provide within the framework. So all the different templates, okay, all the different reports that we can run against our cases, all the views. Okay, we have quite a lot, from the business audit, the case actions, different ways to display the details, okay, comments, documents, the ability to capture email messages. So as part of the installation, we've also installed an event receiver for catching emails. So when someone replies to an email, if the email contains the case ID, that email, as long as it is, with the attachments as well, will also be stored into the case. So some very rich functionality that we can provide out the box. Related processes, related cases, so you can actually relate two cases together. Okay, and quite a lot there. Okay, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please let us know.